Hey everyone, and welcome to Just Travel with Sandy. I'm Sandy, your guide to all things travel. So whether it's uncovering the best tips for navigating new countries, overcoming travel anxiety, or diving headfirst into vibrant cultural experiences, this podcast is your go-to resource for transforming your travel dreams into reality. And my mission is simple: to help you explore the world with confidence, ease, and a sense of joy. So each episode will tackle a different aspect of travel, from practical planning tips to inspiring stories that spark your wanderlust. We'll address the challenges that many face, like managing the overwhelm of planning a trip, dealing with language barriers, or simply finding the courage to take that first step towards adventure. So whether you're a seasoned traveler looking for fresh ideas or someone who is dreaming of their first big trip held back because of fear and uncertainty, this is the space for you. So together we'll build the tools, the mindset, and the excitement you need to embrace the beauty of exploring new places and cultures. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and let's get started on this journey to making your travel goals not just possible, but totally unforgettable. Welcome to Just Travel with Sandy. I'm so glad you're here. And in a recent episode, we talked about travel anxieties and how to tackle that. And I have heard just recently from many that they have this nervous feeling that just sneaks up when they're planning a trip or thinking about heading into a new direction. The good news is travel anxiety shouldn't stop you, and it really doesn't have to stop you from exploring the world. In my opinion, and I just had a conversation this morning, there is nothing that is more exciting and broadens the mind more and lets us step out of our comfort zone than exploring the world, looking at different cultures, traveling. And with the right strategies, you can just tackle it head on and make the travel planning so easy. So first things first, let's talk about planning. One of the biggest sources of travel anxiety from the feedback that I've been getting is the feeling of being overwhelmed by all the little details. Does that sound familiar? If it is, what I would say is just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. And I know that's maybe easier said than done. So my suggestion would be start with two simple questions. Where do I want to go? When can I go? And then, just on a side note, you can plug it into my travel navigator GPT, and I'll link the URL in the show notes that can help get you going if you're not even familiar with those two initial questions. And that's it. So no need to dive into all the minutiae and the details and the planning right away. Give yourself permission to take one step at a time. And once you've decided on your destination, then it's time to do some intentional research. And the key word is intentional. Don't you let yourself fall down the rabbit hole of endless websites and Instagram posts. I know I can get sucked in. There's so much information out there. But pick a handful of trusted resources that you've heard about, that your friends have used, that you've seen, blogs, travel podcasts, or like I just said, maybe a friend has given you some recommendations, and just stick with that. Remember, more information is not always better. So let's talk about one of the biggest anxiety triggers, the unknown, the uncertainty, right? So not knowing the language, not knowing the customs, how to get around, we can go total into mind spiral. But guess what? There's so many tools and tricks to help. And depending on what country you're going to, you could even just learn a few basic phrases or have an app with you. Hello, please, thank you can already make a huge difference. And trust me, I've traveled to so many countries where I didn't know the language, and people just appreciate the effort that we take. And then the magic of apps. You know, technology has its good and its bad sides. And I actually really love, there's a few apps that I really recommend. So there's DeepL for translating, or Google Translate. It's gotten a lot better than it used to be. There's Maps, there's Rome to Rio, there's Transit, and there's a lot of local public transportation apps that you can really use, and it'll take a lot of guesswork out of your trip. So, in this case, technology can truly be your best friend. On a side note, and this is just a little tip on the side, when I travel, always either get an eSIM for the country that I'm going to because I have an iPhone and it has two SIM slots. So one of them is an eSIM. You can have a travel plan. There's many different ways that you're not just attached to your phone when you have Wi-Fi. And I'm not saying to spend all your time on the phone, but when you're walking, it's a great thing to have because I've had it so many times where I use it as my navigation, and it just is a very comforting feeling, especially if you don't know where you're going. And on the emotional side of things, pre-trip jitters are very, very common. Reisefieber is what we say in German. Reisefieber, it's travel fever, literally translated. And that's more the excitement about it. And jitters can be the excitement, but it also can be a little bit of anxiety. So, one of the favorite ways that I've recommended people to stay calm is by visualizing your trip. Picture yourself arriving at your destination in Tuscany in a beautiful vineyard, or, in Ireland in the rolling hills, or in Dublin at a great pub, or whatever it is that you're doing. And you picture yourself enjoying the sights, feeling confident, and being like a little kid in a candy shop with all the new impressions. And it's like giving your brain a little preview of how amazing your trip is going to be. And if you like practical exercises, try this. Write down your top three travel worries: not knowing the language, not knowing how to get around, not knowing the customs, whatever they are. And then next to each one, write down a solution or a plan for handling it. So, for example, if you're nervous about navigating a city, for example, write down, download a map app, and plan my first route before you arrive. So, taking action in even very small ways can be very empowering. So let's talk about mindset. Travel isn't about being perfect, it's about being curious. Travel isn't about collecting the souvenirs or traveling to 7 countries in 5 days. Like I see so many people who go to Europe. They go to London, and then they go to Rome, and then they go to Paris, and they go to Venice, and all like in a week. That's not what it's about. It's not chasing those highlights and chasing these souvenirs. It's about the messiness. It's about being curious. It's about the impressions and the new customs one learns and getting out of your comfort zone. And things may go wrong. A flight may be delayed. You lost the luggage, you missed a turn, or there's even a funny cultural misunderstanding. And trust me, a lot of those have happened to me over the years. But you know what? Those moments are part of the adventure. I've had so many mishaps in my travel, and they all made me grow just a little bit more as a person. When I was in Shanghai back in 2019, I think, I had to grab a taxi from one place to another. I was on my own. I do not speak Mandarin. The taxi driver didn't speak English. But you know what? We made it work with an app, with a picture, with laughs, with smiles. People just really appreciate the effort. So, bringing humor into it, not taking everything so serious, is a huge part of it. So, as you plan your next trip, remind yourself you don't need to know everything and you don't need to do everything perfectly. All you need is the courage to start. So, thanks for tuning in to Just Travel with Sandy. And I hope this episode inspired you to take the next step towards your travel dreams. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, share, or leave a review. It means the world to me. And if you haven't been to Ireland or have loved it so much and want to go back, I have 4 slots left on my trip in June to Ireland. Off the beaten track, magical. It's definitely not a hop on and off. It's a very customized, small group, very, very intimate experience. And I would love for you to join us. So until next time, keep dreaming, planning, and exploring with confidence. Safe travels. And until next time, remember every great journey begins with a single step.